After Dead Heat, Vincent next appeared in the 1990 crime drama Catchfire, aka Backtrack.
With me on Art Flash is an artist who has stirred controversy with her work using...
Catchfire is directed by Dennis Hopper, who also stars in it opposite Jodie Foster. Foster plays artist Annie Benton, whose car breaks down one evening on the highway. On her way walking to a gas station, she accidentally witnesses a mafia hit. The police place her in witness protection, and she relocates under an assumed name across the country. The mob boss, Mr. Avoca, played by Vincent Price, sends a hitman named Milo, played by Dennis Hopper, to track her down and kill her.
You think you can find the girl? Probably.
He eventually does find her, but doesn't kill her. As it turns out, he's fallen in love with her. He kidnaps her in hopes that she'll fall in love with him too. Catchfire was released April 3, 1990. Hopper's original version was 3 hours long, but the studio edited the film to a standard 90-minute runtime without his input, and Hopper furiously took his name off the film, with the director's credit initially reading Alan Smithee. He later recut it to a 2-hour version and released it to cable television under the title Backtrack. The film is packed with appearances and cameos from numerous stars including Charlie Sheen, Joe Pesci, Dean Stockwell, Julie Adams, and even Bob Dylan. Vincent is only in a few scenes and has very little to do in this odd little film. Vincent's final big screen appearance was another 1990 film, Edward Scissorhands. This fairy tale style story stars Johnny Depp as a boy named Edward Scissorhands, who was created, much like Pinocchio, by an elderly inventor played by Vincent Price. The inventor, unfortunately, has a heart attack and dies before completing his creation, unable to add the final piece, his hands. In place of hands, Edward has scissors and tries to survive and fit into a society that sees him as a monster. Edward Scissorhands was released December 6, 1990 and was Vincent's last big screen appearance. It stars Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder and received both box office and critical acclaim. The film reunited Price with director Tim Burton, whom he had worked with on the animated short film Vincent in 1982. It has become a fan favorite among Price fans and is a touching send-off to Price's film career. Vincent's health had begun to decline in the 1980s, as was evidenced by the declining number of film roles he accepted. In 1989, health issues forced him to step down as host of Mystery on PBS. His wife Coral Brown was diagnosed with cancer and battled the disease off and on throughout the late 1980s. On May 29, 1991, she succumbed to breast cancer at the age of 77. They had been married for 17 years. Vincent's final acting role was the 1992 made-for-TV film, The Heart of Justice. This is a murder mystery starring Eric Stoltz and Jennifer Connelly. Price has 2 extremely short scenes in it, both conversation scenes at a restaurant table.
I don't suppose you have a price?
Everybody's got a price.
What's yours, young man?
Good lunch at a fancy private club.
With a charming old fart like me.
Vincent's health continued to decline, but he had a terrific group of friends, caretakers, and family to make his final days as comfortable as possible. Vincent passed away on October 25, 1993, from complications due to emphysema and Parkinson's disease. He was 82 years old. His body was cremated and his ashes scattered at sea a few miles off the coast of Santa Monica. Vincent had an amazing career that spanned not just the fields of film and television, which he is best remembered for, but also theater, radio, art, books, cooking, music, and much more. He always said, "A man who limits his interests limits his life," and his was a life without limits. He was an extremely prolific artist, preferring to be busy, and in the process became a household name, and gained a legion of loyal fans who continue to sing his praises decades later. Thank you all for joining me for this series, The Fantastic Films of Vincent Price. This has been quite a journey. I've had a lot of fun doing this. You know, when I started this series, I was initially only going to cover the horror, fantasy, and science fiction films of Vincent Price, thus the name Fantastic Films. But I knew I wanted to watch every Vincent Price movie. That was the whole reason for doing this. And I eventually decided shortly before shooting that if I was going to do that, I might as well take viewers along on the journey with me. And that's what I've tried to do, making a video for every film that was theatrically released by Vincent Price, as well as a number of other fun projects along the way. I'll leave a link at the end of this for the playlist so you guys can find all of them together in one spot. I would also like to say thank you to everybody who helped me gather materials for this, who donated movies, copies of Vincent Price films for me to watch, and graciously donated articles from their own collections. I appreciate each and every one of you. And in closing, I would like to say that this whole film series has been dedicated, and I would like to dedicate it to the one and only Vincent Price. Thank you for the hours of endless entertainment through the years and the fantastic films you left behind.